Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am Sir Worldwide. And again, I want to thank all my loyal subscribers for sticking with me all these years, right? Again, the reason I'm Sir Worldwide is because I filled up 4 passports and I'm still traveling. But anyway, we're going to talk about sports today. In fact, we're going to talk about what's happening in the NFL. There's been a big change back in the day, just a few days actually, a few years in the past, there weren't any black quarterbacks that were being mentioned, period. You couldn't be a black quarterback. But as I've said before, we have a historian that's second to none, and we're going to talk about this quarterback situation right now.
Hello again. We come back again to edify our people. And for anybody else who might be listening who are not our people, we want to edify them too. One great thing about sports is sports always is on the cutting edge of changing the social fabric of the country. And the reason is because there are always these negative stereotypes thinking that our people can't compete or do something as well as the people who run the country, and we always end up doing it better. We all the inventions mostly, which people don't know. We got all the swag, and even though we're down in the bottom pits of society, everyone still looks to us to set trends and things like that. So sports is no different. We dominate the athleticism. We dominate the thinking ability and everything else. So we're going to get into it right now because what we have right now in 2022, we're in this is the new 1947. This is the modern day Jackie Robinson era for the NFL. And why do I say that? There's been black players in the NFL, at least that I can remember since 46. But the bottom line, and it may be a few years earlier than that, but the bottom line is that they always let us play sporadically since the post-World War II era, but they didn't really want us to play quarterback. Now, the NFL started in 1920, and we want to give a big shout out to Papa Bear, George Stanley Halas, who started the league. He started the Decatur Staleys. Next year moved to Chicago, became the Chicago Bears, and he started the entire NFL league. So we want to mention that. Halas started in 1920, and at that same time, there were some teams, and a big shout out to our brother Paul Robeson, who played in the league to help put himself through law school. Played in the NFL in the 1920s. Our beautiful brother Paul Robeson, a real hero, best person the country ever produced on many levels, intellectually as well as sports, athletically, scholastically, everything. Anyway, we had a guy named Fritz Poehler who played the first black NFL quarterback. His career played from the first year of the league, starting in 1920 through 1926. He played those 7 seasons. He was a quarterback. The established trend didn't get really firmly rooted, however, not necessarily because his ability was ineffective, but more because people thought that that was the intellectual position and didn't want to give our people a chance at it. Now, we did have 1932-33, we had Joe Lillard played with the Chicago Cardinals. Yes, the Cardinals before they were in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, the Arizona Cardinals today with my man Cal Murray, former Rookie of the Year. Also, Cal Murray, only player ever to go top 10 in the draft in baseball and football the same year. Number 1 overall for the Cardinals, and the same year he was the number 9 pick for the Oakland A's in baseball. Bad man. No one else ever did that. I'm sure Deion Sanders could have did that, or Bo Jackson. They weren't drafted. They were free agents. Jackson may have been drafted, but I believe Sanders was a free agent. But even if he was drafted by the Yankees, they weren't in the football draft. They came in football as free agents. Now we go next to Willie Thrower. Is that the best name you ever heard for a quarterback? I mean, that's just the best name ever. Thrower. He was born to be a quarterback. It's as simple as that. Played with the Chicago Bears in 1953. Our first black quarterback with the Bears, who started the league. Oh, by the way, don't forget we just mentioned that. And these are brothers who played, who made a foothold, who made it possible for things to come in the future. But ultimately, they didn't really celebrate black men playing quarterback. Of course, it was more of a one-dimensional phase at that time, drop back quarterbacks and so forth. But it all began to change really starting in the 1970s when you had people like James Harris playing with the LA Rams. Dr. Bomb May throwing bombs playing with Pittsburgh Steelers. Didn't play much in the Bradshaw era, but he played a little bit. Along with Joe Gilliam, also played at least 1 year. I think that was 74 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the point is, you had other black quarterbacks in the 70s who began to take it to another level, 70s and 80s. And this is what we want to talk about today. First, we want to talk about one of the biggest injustices, since we mentioned Jackie Robinson era in football, and that is our brother who went to Hamilton High School, not far from where we're filming today in Los Angeles, Hamilton High School. Then he went to University of Washington. He graduated, he graduated in high school 75 from Hamilton in LA. He went to the University of Washington, which he graduated in 79. But the NFL didn't want him to play quarterback. They didn't want him to play in that league because he was so-called black. So he had to go up to Canada and won at least 2 Grey Cups, if my memory serves me correctly, maybe 3, but at least 2 championships in Canada. Came back to the NFL with the Houston Oilers. Believe that was 84. And today, this brother has the most yardage, passing yardage, of any professional quarterback in the history of football. But that's counting Canada as well as the United States. And if you just count the NFL, he's 3rd all time in the NFL in terms of passing yardage. And of course, we're talking about my main man, Warren Moon. I had the good fortune to meet that brother, see that brother a couple times in Hawaii when I was going to University of Hawaii. The Pro Bowl was out there every year back then, and he was a fixture out there every year. He really was. Warren Moon was everything they said he was. The throwing arm was exceptional. So we want a big shout out to Warren Moon. In addition to Warren Moon, we have to look at going into the 80s, since he started in 84. We got to look at Quarter Black. If you know that book, Quarter Black instead of Quarterback. The book's title is Quarter Black. That's my main man, Doug Williams, who went to Grambling State University, HBU. Now, what he did, historically black university. Now, what he did, he went into the league, and he did well with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In fact, in the 1979 championship game, they made the championship. Tampa drafted him high because Tampa were probably winning average about 1 to 2 games a year back then. I remember that. And the point is, with Tampa, he took that team to the championship against the LA Rams in 1980 or 79 season. They lost the game 9-0 on 3 field goals. They lost 3 field goals. They had a great defense, but unfortunately, Doug and the offense couldn't get it in the end zone in that particular game. Howsoever, considering where that team was when he got there and how they built up that offense, it was an accomplishment, even though they didn't score in the championship game. And obviously, they won a playoff game to get to the championship game. After that, what happened? He went to the 87 Super Bowl. Yes, that means he beat the great Chicago Bear teams after the 85 championship they had. He beat that team in 87 in Chicago. That was Walter Payton's last game. And then He won another game in the championship of NFC. They went to the Super Bowl against John Elway, who was what they called an All-American white boy. Now, obviously, All-American is a sports accolade, meaning you're the best at that position in the country. There's All-City, All-State, All-American. Since brothers started playing, most white guys haven't been All-American, period. That's just a fact of the matter. And they call Elway All-American. I don't remember if he was ranked that or not at Stanford, but white America loved him the way they love Brady today. They thought he was the best thing ever. And when the Denver Broncos, which Elway played for, met the Washington Redskins, they were humiliated. And Doug Williams broke records. He established records in that Super Bowl, passing records. Doug Williams, I remember on the Sports Illustrated, it just said, wow, on the cover. And they had a picture of Doug throwing a touchdown in that Super Bowl. So it was really great. We love that, brother. Big shout out to Michael Vick, first quarterback to get over 1,000 yards, right? Beat Bobby Douglas's rushing yardage record. And he has 7 yards per carry, better than Jim Brown and Gale Sayers' all-time running the ball per carry. We want to say also Vince Evans, my main man at the time with the Bears, who went to USC, came in just holding the ball for the kickers. But then eventually, even the owner, Papa Bear, said, we got to have him at quarterback. He shined at quarterback. Culpepper. There are many others. We could list over 30 of them, but we'll come back another time and tell you some more. Take care.